Today, the annual observance of the National Day of Prayer, first created in 1952 and signed into law by President Harry Truman. Our next guest is leading today's National Day of Prayer, taking part in the festivities, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Colonel, thank you very much. Where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing?
Well, I've been doing some things here locally and done some communications out on social media, what have you. It's an incredible day when you think about our Judeo-Christian faith heritage, because there's no other nation like the United States of America that was founded on the premise and the belief that the inalienable rights of the individual come from the Creator God, your life, your liberty, your pursuit of happiness, which, of course, goes back to the natural rights theory of John Locke.
I think it's such a beautiful sentiment, and I think many people may not realize that this has been around for quite some time. But I do have to ask you, with so many things going on in the world in these very, very challenging times, do you think this year the event is going to be maybe bigger or even more poignant than ever?
Well, I think without a doubt, you see more people looking at going and having that communication with our Heavenly Father and offering up this nation in prayer. And if you go back a couple of years ago and remember that one of the first things the government tried to shut down and going into the most holy of seasons, which was the Easter season, was our churches. And back in 9/11, that's where everyone wanted to go to get on their knees in prayer after the catastrophe that has happened there. So I think that's why the Founding Fathers realize that the First Amendment, your very first liberty, is the freedom of religion and the free exercise thereof. And I'm so glad that President Harry Truman codified this day as a National Day of Prayer.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious at Washington and its stand on prayer, whether you think, as you've observed over the years, whether it's more meaningful, whether it's less meaningful, whether it's meaningful in individual lives but not in the public square. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would tell you that the secular humanists who are trying to push the relationship of God out of the United States of America and the fabric of this country, that's what they're trying to do. And so when you see the misperception of the separation of church and state, which was a letter written by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Convention of Connecticut, we did not want to have a head of state that was also the head of church. But what some are trying to do is to separate our Judeo-Christian faith heritage away from us. But right behind me here in my home office, there's a portrait of General George Washington kneeling beside his horse in prayer at Valley Forge. And we know how important Valley Forge was, and of course, the Battle of Trenton, which came not too long afterwards.
All right, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, you all. Happy Day of Prayer.
Thank you very much.